What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. DN Duel commentary. We got Squiddy, 1929, insane high rating. This is the highest rating on Dueling Network. It's not even close. I think he's the only player in the 1900s. I don't even think Flaming Ice is on there on that level. Then we have Rio, 1840. Rio got game one. One of the most unconventional openings you'll ever see. What he did was he went Manju, summoned Ganir, and then he summoned Psyblocker, and Squid didn't have any monsters, and he called Mirror Force with Psyblocker, and he just kept doing it, and he kind of just got it in. Now Squids went second. Rio set a whole bunch of cards in his back row. Squids Regeki'd him. It was Fire Hand, and then Squids just summoned Disc, and he was just like attack. So now he set one that got MST'd. Rio set a monster and just pretty much passed. He goes into Abyss Dweller, which can't get over the Sharit. It's Psyblocker. Okay, I guess you'll take the plus. It's not technically a plus or even because you spent two monsters for one. But you, I guess, still have your monster. I guess you'll take that. It's probably a move that Squiddy had to do, considering he just didn't want to lose to Ice or Fire Hand. And the fact that Rio is still 3 turns in and has not gotten to a Manju or Sanju, that can't be good, right? I mean, you want to get your engine going. I don't think that's an Ice or a Fire Hand either. That's a Sharit. Okay, so he catches him with a couple of bluffs, forcing Squiddy to just pass. He has to take 100 damage because there's no water monsters in this here territory. Not on this side of the field. There's going to be always water monsters on this side of the field. But I'm gonna say that at least 2 of these are spells, or what's it called, are just random ritual spells, because Rio has gone like 4 turns into this duel and has not even summoned a Manju, a Sanju, or activated a search card. Like, what is going on here? I mean, are they all MSTs? Are they all Twisters? Looks like he's gonna tribute for Monolith. Squiddy is showing absolutely no fear. He's not fearing anything, any back row, because we know that this deck does not run battle traps. I might see an End-Phase MST right here. Wouldn't shock me. Which is why if I was Squiddy, I think I'd probably even consider setting my sacrifices. Just maybe for the End-Phase MST. I mean, I don't really see Trishula being a threat here. I mean, he hasn't done anything remotely related to searching. And Rio scoops it up. This is just one of the oddest matches that I think I've seen in a long time, especially for players with pretty much unprecedented ratings. Well, I don't want to say unprecedented. I think I've seen somebody in the 2000s on Dueling Network before. The highest I've ever been, I think, is 18. It was like 1812, something like that. And that was with Boojins. That shit was hard as hell. I had to go first so many times. Although when I went first with Boojins, I didn't feel like anybody could beat me no matter what the fuck they were playing. I felt like that deck was way too strong with turn 1 Yamato plus Royal Decree. Like, whew, you just weren't gonna beat me on that shit. But anyways, but Rio has a very legit rating, and he left those side blockers in. That's kind of interesting. I think a lot of people are starting to realize in this matchup, I actually said it yesterday a lot, but I don't think I ended up saving any of those recordings. I think Skill Drain is 20 times better than Vanity's Emptiness for Cleese in this matchup, because if you have Vanities out, sure, they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's great and everything, but you have to think, once they get an MST, a lot of times they just win because they can MST another face down card and get rid of Vanities at the same time. And Vanities doesn't stop them from going Manju Sanju, getting Valks in their hand, and just stalling for multiple turns while they just rack up level 4s on the field. So then when they finally get that MST, they can do like 3 XC plays in 1 turn on you before they even think about Ritual Summon. They can be like, okay, Diamond Dire with this back row, Diamond Dire this, you know what I mean? Like they, Castel your scout back. Like they can do a whole bunch of rank 4 plays before they even have to, do anything else. With Skill Drain, it turns off Manju Sanju. Your opponent can special summon all they want, but your monsters, your Cleese, get enhanced at the same time. So it's like the only way that they can beat over your Cleese, it's like with Valkyris or Decisive Armor, and who the fuck really summons Decisive Armor like that? Especially if you know there's 0 chance he's going to get his effect if he is only a beat stick, you know. So I feel like skill drain is much better. And the difference is, when they top deck MST and you have skill drain out, they have to MST the skill drain because they want to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, so they have to MST the skill drain, which means if you have a vanity set, they can still just, or you can still use the vanities to counter them, or you can still save that mirror force that was set, or that Fiendish chain, or the bottomless, or whatever the hell else you have set. I just feel like, skill drain's better. All right. So yeah, as expected, in this matchup, every player has been forced to go first. So you see Squiddy loading up that back row. Is that a coyote? And is on the back of his card sleeves? I'm not really sure if that's just a regular dog. Like a it looks like kind of like a coyote to me. All right, Rio opens up with, I mean, I don't know what he might do. In game 2, he didn't even remotely come close to setting up his engine. And he's going right after this back row game. I don't like this game plan from Rio. I don't care if it works or not. Because I don't feel like I don't feel like this deck should be trying to fight against, I don't feel like they should be fighting against, Cleese by going after back row. It just, to me, your engine's better than their engine. So why are you trying to fight against Scout? You should be focusing on getting your engine going, doing what you're doing, and then make them try and counter what you're doing. All right, so we finally see him play an actual monster. Squiddy immediately changed Shared Ride. Love this card. Love it, love it, love it. I really just can't talk enough about Shared Ride. It's an upstart goblin that you get to activate for free on your opponent's turn if you're playing against Nekroz. They can't advance their game state at all. And basically you just get a free turn, but it pays for itself. This is the new Maxi, in my opinion. Maxi is just, that's old news. Like, Shared Ride is basically the new Maxi. It's also chainable, so you can blind MST it if you want. Still gonna chain it. You see him activate Kaleidoscope, or as I like to say, the no scope. Squiddy says, I don't think we can have that. So now he really can't advance his game state because he is now under Vanity's Emptiness. It's almost as good as Skill Drain. Almost. Alright, so now Squiddy gets he gets a turn. He gets an extra card, obviously, for the Shared Ride. And now he's able to get to a Beat Stick and kill the Manju. Now, a lot of times what people will do, if they activate Kaleidoscope, they kind of have to overcommit, because they may have to go Unicorn plus Valkyris, see if they can get a bunch of damage in. That's when you capitalize off things like Torrential and Mirror Force. You catch the Nekroz player overcommitting, where if you didn't have Shared Ride, they would probably just go dump Herald, summon Unicorn, end up getting a monster and not committing much more. But they know if they do that play, you're still drawing cards if they're under Shared Ride, so they're not going to do much. This looks really bad for Rio. The fact is, either he's going to start eating 18 per turn, or he's going to have to start giving Squiddy free cards via Valkyris. The way that you play around vanities is, like I said, you generally, if you're playing Nekroz, you want to constantly summon Manju and Sanju and stack up Valkyrises. But if you don't have Manjus or Sanjus, you're not really doing shit. So looks like he's just going to give Squiddy the damage. And I think usually if the Clee player stacks up extra defense to go along with the vanities, that's when it starts becoming insurmountable for the Nekroz player. Because if they get like a skill drain out, it doesn't really matter that you kill the vanities, or if they have a skill drain set, then they still have other ways of stopping you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, I believe he got Brio. And looks like he's probably going to go for Valkyris. And if I'm Squiddy, if I have like more Shared Rides, I'm holding them until I lose my Vanity's Emptiness. That's when I want to actually commit the Shared Ride. Until then, I'm not really doing anything. So I guess he's going to search for a spell. No, wait, sorry. He's just going to add another card back. So I'm going to guess he has, he's going to burn at least one Valkyris at this point. I think he kind of has to. If I'm Squiddy and I top deck Scout, I still feel really good. Alright. None of those attacks are getting through. Yeah. He's going to start burning. Now is when he'll have to start burning Valkyrises. If you want to adequately counter, though, you have to be able to constantly stream Manjus to the field. Like what he's doing right now, Squiddy can't advance to game state because all he's going to do is just keep cycling Valkyrises. This is why I say skill drain's 10 times better than Vanities in this matchup, because your opponent can't do this your opponent can't do this under skill drain. It just doesn't work. Under Vanities, you can stall like 4 turns until you draw an MST. Now, with Rio playing a whole bunch of other stuff like Psyblocker and, you know, Fire Hand, it might take him a little while to get there. But he is going to attempt to thin his deck out. So he's going to get more spells using Colossalus. He'll probably dump Unicorn to get Valk right back. Or he could have just, I mean, he has 6 cards. He probably has another Valk in his hand already. Alright, there's Valk number 2. He does have to start banishing stuff from his graveyard though, so it's not the greatest thing. So Squiddy activates Soul Transition, so he can draw cards. Oh, he's going after the back row, and he can still attack. Excellent play, Squiddy. So he gets rid of the cycle. He still gets to kill himself. Asanju. That was a really good play by Squiddy. And he's now able to get the scout, which means Helix is coming back. Keep in mind, Rio still has a monster on board. He cannot use any of his spells. I think he has a no scope and a cycle in the graveyard. Can't use any of them because he already has a monster on board. Okay, so he's gonna play scout. He's searching for Monolith. If I tribute it, I might consider setting because I don't want to get wrecked by Fire and Ice Hand. He's gonna play Monolith. Yeah, I think I might consider setting. He tributes his 2 guys for stealth to bounce scout. Okay, he's trying to sacrifice it up. Nope, no he's not. He's just gonna draw cards and he's gonna keep scout in his hand. Awesome. Okay, so he's got so much defense on board right now. It's pretty crazy. Now another Vanities is played. Twister is chained. I still feel good if I'm Squiddy. I still got 4 more cards. I still have 4 more cards to work with. And I can still Shared Ride. I can still Mind Crush you. I still feel good. I would still, and chances are, let's be real, you used your only back row counter. So Squiddy has to play defense for 1 turn. If he is able to play defense for a turn, I think he should be good. Now he's gonna go for Herald. This is where having all of those cards and drawing all those cards, I mean, you have to be able to play sustainable defense against Nekroz. If you're not going to play defense, don't even play the deck because it's not going to work. Now he will obviously go for Exciton Knight. This is where playing defense becomes pretty much the most important part of the game. Where you have to have that Solemn Warning, or you have to have that Fiendish Chain, or you have to have, that Skill Drain. It's part of playing defense. Goes for Exciton in defense mode. Alright. It's another reason why Starlight Road is actually a decent card. I mean, yes, you can't summon the Stardust Dragon, but you do get the effect. So he's counting cards. I think we got 5 on the bottom and what? I'm gonna close my eyes and say 9 at the top. Let me count. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, we were off. So he has 10. 5 versus 10. He's got double the cards. Ooh, Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare, like a boss. Oh man. I guess if he was running Void Trap Hole, he wouldn't. I just want to see what the chat says about that. Exactly. It says people play that Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare is not that bad. You can use it against Trish. You can use it against Exciton Knight. You can use it against Brio. You can use it against Gungnir and Decisive Armor. Like, the only card that doesn't really activate anything is like Unicorn, right? Yeah, Nightmare is not bad. And I think Void Trap Hole is good against this deck too, because it gets rid of Unicorn and it stops Trish. Oh, you can use it against Valkyries too, because people may try and tribute in main phase 2, and then you just use it on Valkyries. So he definitely took some pluses there on the trap. And I know some of Squiddy's odd techs because I've watched him play a lot. I know he plays Black Horn of Heaven in the mirror match for Pendulums. I know that he plays it against Deck Static Sea a lot. I know that I've seen him play Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare. It's pretty good. Alright, so now he's recouping spells. The problem is the spells that you use generally tell you the monsters that you want to summon and what you're going to use to summon them with. So if you have Mind Crush, and your opponent plays Cycle, then for the most part you call Sharit. If your opponent activates the regular Nekroz Mirror, looking at their graveyard, for the most part, you count 9 stars, you find 9 stars, 6 and 3 usually, and you just call Trishula. Because if they don't have 6 and 3, then maybe it's going to be Valkyrus. But for the most part, they summon Trishula and Brio off of that. So I don't really know if Trishula runs it back here because of how much defense he has and because he has 2 monsters and you can't kill them both. Well, now I guess you could banish one and attack the other and leave him with Monolith. I don't know if I'd want to do that. So he's gonna pay, or he pays with Sharit. And he's gonna try and activate Trishula. I'm gonna be real. I wouldn't be shocked if there was another. Oh, there it is. I wouldn't be shocked if he had a fucking another one. Oh my goodness. I think that if you looked at the way that Squiddy was acting, he was way too calm when he said, when Rio said effects, I think Squiddy was way too calm when he was like, isn't that card banned? I think he was trying to make his opponent seem like they were in a position of power. It totally didn't shock me that he had another one. I think he has a Fiendish Chain down there too. I don't think he has Skill Drain. I think he'd have burnt it 2 turns ago. I think he has nothing but defensive cards that are all reactionary. I don't think he has a Mirror Force. I think he has probably like a Fiendish Chain down there. That's just my opinion. So Rio has to get Valkyrus because he needs to be able to try and play defense. Otherwise he'll get gamed. Borderline can get gamed by just these 2 monsters alone. If he summons anything, he will definitely get gamed. So he gives him 2,000 life points. For the most part, they're largely inconsequential. Squiddy knows he's not really going to be able to get through this turn. So it's like, what's really even the big deal? Squiddy just has to make sure he keeps at least about 2,600 life points so that he's not in really the danger zone of getting sacked out. So I'd probably pay for Scout maybe once, twice tops. I probably wouldn't play Scout more than that. Also, no, I don't think I have any further comments. So he's going to attempt to attack. He knows that he's going to be met with, he knows that he's going to obviously be met with Valkyrus. That's a given. He just better hope that Squiddy doesn't have any legitimate defensive cards because he will tribute summon and he will draw 2 more cards on top of the 2 cards he already has. So always keep that in mind. He can't use Soul Transition anymore, but he can Book of Moon. But he can't Soul Transition because he controls special summon monsters. But he cannot use Soul Transition this turn, but he can use Book of Moon or Compulse Evacuation Device. I don't love that card against Nekroz, the matchup. I don't really like it that much. So he's going to tribute for Scout, bounce the, or tribute for Stealth, excuse me. Bounce the Scout. Think this might be where he starts getting sacrifices. Nope, he gets Climate Change. Just to make sure if his field gets nuked, he still has access to Scout. Although, Exciton is long dead and gone, so. He'll draw a couple of more cards. Now, the one bad thing is giving Rio the 2,000 life points. He's in a position where Ice and Fire Hand could, like, actually do some damage, but he's gonna spend it on Manju. This is where Laser Queep would actually come in handy, and I think that card's awful, but I think I'd rather have Laser Queep than like, what's it called? Now, I think I predicted that I thought he had Fiendish Chain, but if I'm not mistaken, I think this was a new card set. I predicted he had Fiendish Chain down, but I feel like this was one of the new cards. I feel like these 2 may have been that. And I would have burnt the Fiendish Chain there too. Because with having Fiendish Chain in this position, your opponent can't recycle their spells. So he goes for another Trishula. What is that, Trish number 2? Oh my goodness! What? Are you kidding me? 3 Trap Tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare, Squiddy Senpai. Too much. Mine is fucking blown. He's about to make this a $10 card again. Oh my goodness. Squiddy, that play, that was just insanely real. And it does suck if you're Rio. You didn't get any Mystical Space Typhoons, or you didn't get any Twisters. If you didn't side in Twister and okay, so he did side in Twister. I'm like, if you didn't side in Twister and you just sided in Fairy Wind, you fucking up, because I would like to be able to do my plays right then and there. But that was insane, because when he summoned the second Trish, I was like, wait a minute, didn't the first one die? How did it get back in his hand? And yes, sure enough, he is actually playing 2 Trishulas. But if you didn't find that match entertaining, I don't even think you like Yu-Gi-Oh! Everybody says that they hate this format. I love this format. Thank you guys for watching, as always.